Manx Radio Sport.
A very good evening to our listeners on Manx Radio AM 1368. I'm on digital. I'm Rob Pritchard. Welcome to Saturday Sport Classified. It's been cup games galore here on the Isle of Man. We'll be taking you through the latest scores and results from the Hospital Cup in Manx football, and also the games ongoing and finished in the finale to the 2023 Manx hockey season, with the cup final of the two cup final days taking place on the Isle of Man this Saturday. Well, we will start things off, as usual, with your classified results across the sports on the Isle of Man, and they are as follows. Starting with football. The Hospital Cup first round. Foxdale 1, St Mary's 2. Ramsey 3, Corinthians 2. Onken 0, St John's United 2. Laxey 3, Peel 1. Ayr United 6, Douglas High School Old Boys 1. Morown versus Douglas Athletic, awarded as a home win to Morown. Douglas Athletic unable to field a team. Castletown 3, Colby 3 after extra time is an ongoing match. This game has now gone to penalties and is ongoing. And finally, Douglas Royal 0, Russian United 4. And then we move on to hockey. The Ladies' Bowl final. Ramsey B 1, Castletown C 4. In the Ladies' Cup final, Castletown A 4, Vikings A 3. In the Men's Cup final, Backers A 7, Vikings A 2. And in the Men's Bowl final, Ramsey B 3, Castletown B 2 is a latest score. And then also today, turning to netball on the Isle of Man, starting with Friday. Isle of Man men's squad 54, UK Armed Forces 35. And then to today, Saturday the 30th of April, Manx Rams 57, UK Armed Forces 37. Isle of Man under-21s versus Northern Ireland under-17 development, and Isle of Man under-17s, Northern Ireland under-17 development match, both postponed. So those are your classified results so far. As you probably heard just then, in the football and the hockey, we are still awaiting a couple of results. But taking a look at what we have so far, we're going to turn to Tony Mepham. And Tony, very good evening to you.
Evening to you, Rob. And I've got someone relaying the information back to us from that Castletown Colby game. So if I get carried away, you know what's happening.
Going right down to the wire, isn't it? 3-3 after extra time and going to penalties right down to the wire in the Southern Derby.
Yep. We'll just wait to see, but Pat's he's going to keep us posted, and it shouldn't be long before it starts.
Well, with football, before we get into the results proper, just a reminder, we're going to be speaking to the Isle of Man women's national team manager, Wayne Lissy, in a few minutes' time as well, about the Isle of Man women's team having an exciting trip and challenge over in the UK this weekend on Sunday. And also we'll be bringing you the live draws for the semi-finals of the Kirby Estates Cowell Cup and also for the quarter-finals of the Hospital Cup. Those are to come, but first off, let's go through the Hospital Cup first-round results that we have so far. And it was an all Div 2 clash between Foxdale and St Mary's at Billygoat Park, and St Mary's continuing their good form. They're on the brink of the league title at the moment, not quite there, but almost mathematically certain, up against a Foxdale team. St Mary's winning 2-1, so not plain sailing for St Mary's there today.
No, it wasn't, and 2 goals for St Mary's were scored very early on. Nathan Holsall got the first, I think it was Owen Canoper got the second one, and then it didn't help things when Josh Evans, who actually plays for St Mary's, decided to lash one in his own net to put St Mary's under a little bit of pressure. But, you know, Foxdale must have played well in that second half, because certainly St Mary's getting those 2 early goals, it looked as if it was going to go totally one way. But St Mary's just kept chipping away, didn't happen for them. Foxdale couldn't get that equalising, and it's St Mary's who go through.
Then we take a look at one of the all Premier League clashes up at the Balaclone Stadium, and Corinthians, well, they drew in midweek against Peel, and Peel becoming league champions, and more misery, I guess, for Corinthians. They've already missed out on the league title, and now they are out of the Hospital Cup as well, against a Ramsey side that went down to 9 men in this game. It finished Ramsey 3, Corinthians 2.
Yeah, and got a bit of a report on this one, Rob, so we'll give it a mention. Goals for Ramsey: Chris Duggan got 1, Harry Blissett and Graham Kennish. Ramsey played with 10 men for 60 or 70 minutes after Marcus Koski got a red card when it was 2-0. And then Ramsey found a third before half-time, so it was 3-0. They were up playing with 10 players. despite under a lot of pressure. They then went down to 9 men. It was a sin bin, it was. We were told it was sent off, but it was a sin bin. Charlie Higgins it was. But then when he came back on, they secured that 3-2 win, and it's Ramsey go in the hat, and Corinthians couldn't find anything in the second half.
And another All-Premier League clash, Onken and St John's. Onken the home team, but this was played at St John's due to the stock cars going on over in Onken at the moment. And St John's, well, even though they weren't the home side, I suppose they made home advantage count in this one. St John's, they're through to the quarterfinals with a 2-0 win over Onken.
Yeah, and this was the half-time score as well, so well done to Onken in that second period, because they had a torrid game, didn't they, on Tuesday when they conceded those 11 goals. But today they battled well against St John's. Harry Rothwell got both goals for St John's, and St John's joined St Mary's in the hat.
And then we head over to Glen Road, and arguably one of the shocks of the round this time around. Laxey hosting Peel. Peel, of course, as we mentioned just a moment ago, crowned Canada Life Men's Premier League champions in midweek, and they'll have been hoping to get some more trophies in the cabinet come the end of the campaign, but it will not be, we know, it will not be the Hospital Cup, because Peel have been beaten today by Laxey by 3-1. Did you see this one coming, Tony?
Well, it was always a tough one. I saw Laxey's team sheet last night, and I just thought they've got a chance here. I'm not too sure what Peel's strength was, but certainly today they were 1-0 down. Not too sure who got the goal. Tom Cowan got one, Dave Reynolds got a goal, Brodie Patience as well. But it went 2-0 to Laxey, and then Peel pulled one back. Lee Gale got the goal, so 2-1, and it was all to play for. But once Laxey got that third one, it secured them the place. And as you rightly say, Peel go out, but they're still in the Railway Cup.
We've talked about Laxey maybe sometimes in the same breath as the likes of Union Mills this season, just struggling to find that consistency. They've got the quality in there, but just not to build the results. But you actually look at them statistically at home, in the league, for example, throughout this season, they've been quite strong. So they've been able to make home advantage count when they've been on their own soil. Yeah,
they're a good side, and Johnny Palmer's a good manager and gets the best out of them. And when you look at it, Rob, they're only going to get better because it's a very, very good side. And when you've got people like Brodie Patience in there, you've got Charlie Robinson, you've got others as well. Bit of sort of maturity came in today in Dave Reynolds, and he scored as well. So it bodes well for the future for Laxey. Good on them. And Peel, unfortunately for them, they can't continue this great run that they've had, because Tuesday night was a special night, winning that league after 20-odd years. But as I say, once we get the Railway Cup semi-final draw done, and we'll try and get some dates for those fixtures, they've got a chance of some more silverware.
Well, Tony, I have some breaking news for you in the Hospital Cup. We mentioned that it was Castletown 3, Colby 3 after extra time. It went to penalties, and quite literally in the last few seconds, we understand that Colby have won the penalty shootout and go through to the quarter-finals of the Hospital Cup. So let's just take a look at that game to start with. It was 2-2 after full time between the two sides in this southern derby, and then both sides getting a goal apiece in extra time, taking it through to penalties, and in the last few seconds, Colby putting themselves through on penalties to the quarterfinals of the Hospital Cup. That must have been quite an entertaining match down there today.
I would say so, and it's a southern derby as well, so it's everything to play for. And both sides had players missing today due to weddings, but 2-2 after 90 minutes, and then goes into extra time. And then it went 3-3, and I think Colby got that equaliser not too far from the end of extra time. But in the penalty shootout, Castletown have lost 4-3, and it says Castletown's goal scorers in the game: Edson De Silva, he got one, and Nathan Cardy got the other one. So 2-2, just waiting to find out. Oh, Nathan Cardy got 2 goals. So it was, that 3-3 after extra time. We'll wait and get Colby's scorers through, but tremendous evening for them. I'm pretty certain the boys will be heading down to the shore for a pint or two.
And just to touch on one of those points, when we spoke about it on Friday Sport last night, you said with the fact that both teams were missing certain personnel with other commitments outside the football side of things, that it could throw the cat amongst the pigeons a little bit, and it appears to have done so, because when you look at the matchup with these two in the league, it's not always been as close as this.
No, the game at Colby, Castletown won well and truly, but since then the battles have been, really on, because both teams, we've got players who've switched from Colby to Castletown. Castletown have gone back to Colby, and it was just going to be a right little battle for them. And Colby will take a lot from that, because, they had a great win on Tuesday against Braddon to get through into this round, and now they've got a quarter-final draw, which will come up shortly. And they'll be absolutely chuffed to bits. When you think of it, Rob, they didn't have a first team last year. And here they are sort of back in there with 2 teams and done incredibly well. So all credit to everyone at the club, and especially to the players today who've done the job.
We'll briefly interrupt the football with just a quick hockey update. The men's bowl final, which is taking place between Ramsey B and Castletown B. With just a couple of minutes to go now, it is currently Ramsey B 4, Castletown B 2. Ben Cunningham down there providing us with updates, and we'll await a full-time result. But at the moment, Ramsey currently leading Castletown by 4-2 in that game with a couple of minutes still to go. Let's go back to the football then. We go to Andreas playing fields. Ayr United versus Douglas High School Old Boys. And Old Boys, we've talked about it quite a few times. The struggles in the league very apparent, and maybe just hoping for a bit of respite in this competition, but Ayr United certainly not giving them that today. Comprehensive win from Ayr United, beating Old Boys by 6-1.
Yeah, Old Boys took the lead, so well done to Old Boys. Don't know who got the goal, but once Ayr United got going, and you could see from the goal scorers here, they're littered with people who can put it into the back of the net. And Johnny Shields, he got 2. Jason Crane, how many goals has he scored throughout his career? He got a couple of goals. His son Nathan Crane nearly caught his dad up. He got 1, and Stephen Barber, who came back to Ayr United this year, got the other one. So a super result that for Ayr United. They are champions of the league last year, so they've still got a lot of quality in there. And today they've got themselves a deserved win against Old Boys, and they'll join the rest of the teams in the hat.
And then over at Ballafletcher, Tony, you were covering this one today for Saturday Live with Paul Moran between Douglas Royal and Russian United, and it was the Southern visitors coming out on top. A commanding win from them over at Ballafletcher today. Douglas Royal 0, Russian United 4.
Yeah, and all the damage was done in the first half, to be fair, because Ed Canner, who got a hat-trick, certainly the first one was superb. A good cross in from the right-hand side and a good header. The other 2, he still had a little bit of work to do to get them. Christos Laurazidos got the other one. So super result for Russian. And when you look at Russian, they're in the Cowell Cup semi-finals as well. There's a lot going on for the Russian faithful to go out, support, and hopefully bring some silverware home.
And the other time, the Hospital Cup first round, that was due to take place between Moran and Douglas Athletic. That has been awarded as a home victory to Moran because Douglas Athletic sadly were unable to field a team, so Moran automatically going through to the next round. So we will have the live draws coming up in a couple of minutes for the quarterfinals of the Hospital Cup and also the semi-finals of the Kirby Estates Cowell Cup. But before we do that, we have another guest in the studio, footballing-wise today, and he is in charge of the Isle of Man women's national football team, and they've got a big game coming up this weekend, tomorrow afternoon, in fact, as part of their preparations for the Ireland Games in a few months' time. So we will now welcome him forward. We welcome Isle of Man women's team manager Wayne Lissy. Wayne, very good evening to you.
Good evening to you. Thank you very much for inviting me up.
Oh, our pleasure. So just very quickly, there's been a lot of talk about this game and the experience around it. It's quite an occasion, this. The Isle of Man women's team coming up against Accrington Stanley women, 3 p.m. on Sunday at the Wham Stadium as well, the home of Accrington men's, of course, in the Football League. So for you, not just as a manager, but as a team, how exciting an experience is this?
Well, for the players, it's going to be massive. I mean, to be able to play in a League One stadium, and I believe this is the first time Accrington women are playing in the stadium as well, so it's a massive occasion for both sides. And these opportunities just don't come around very often.
I'm going to interrupt just for a second here. We do have the full-time results in hockey, and it has finished in the men's bowl final. Ramsey B 4, Castletown B 2. So Ramsey B take the men's bowl silverware there. We'll come to hockey shortly when Ben Cunningham joins us. Wayne, coming back to you. Obviously, you took over the reins in, I believe it's September 2021 with this team, and that was around a time where still there was quite a lot of disruption, particularly with on and off island travel. It's still in the midst to some extent of a pandemic. So having a bit of time since then to, I suppose, work on island around the other commitments that you and the players have, has that maybe made that connection as a national team stronger, that you've had some time to yourself and you're not going off on all these different journeys?
Well, to a certain extent, yes. We had a couple of friendlies last year, which got us into the swing of things. It's very difficult for the women on the island because we can't play against anyone else. There's no other teams to play against in terms of friendlies, and you could do as much as you like in training, but the friendlies are absolutely vital to be able to put real situations into things you've been working on in training, how that's going to go into a competitive friendly. So whilst this is a massive occasion tomorrow, and Accrington have gone all out on social media, it's absolutely massive. For me personally, it'll be what can we transfer what we've been working on in training into match scenarios tomorrow. We'll try a couple of different formations during the game, and hopefully that stands in good stead going forward then.
You mentioned occasion there. I've seen it as well over social media. They really are pulling out all the stops to draw attention to what is, I think, what Accrington Stanley women are describing it as quite a historic game for them, playing the Isle of Man women's national team. But like you say, you want your players to enjoy the occasion, but there is a serious side to it. You've got a lot of things to work on. So I suppose, without giving the tactical secrets away, just in case anyone from Accrington is listening for whatever reason, what are the main priorities you want from your team to get out of that game?
Well, when I took over, it's apparent that we've got very talented, technical women on the island, and there's absolutely no reason why we can't be a possession-based football team. No reason whatsoever. So that's what we've been working on for the last 14, 15 months. Same sort of things in training. All the girls know exactly how we want to play. So yeah, we'll be looking to transfer that into match scenarios come tomorrow.
And that can be a difficulty sometimes, establishing identity as a national team at whichever level. We see it at the top level as well internationally, where a manager has certain ideas, but of course the players are all coming from different clubs involved in different tactical setups. But for the fact that you've set that identity early in the team, do you think that stands you in good stead for going to Guernsey in a few months' time?
Absolutely. Especially this year. This year training we've stepped it up in terms of the intensity, exactly what we want. I think the ladies have really bought into how we're going to play, what we're going to do. So I'm really excited. I'm really excited for tomorrow. Like we said before, Accrington have gone all out. They're really trying to promote it in their community. They'll have all their girls' junior set up down for the match. So it's going to be great.
And obviously mentioned it a couple of times here, but the fact that it is part of the preparations for the Ireland Games. So at the moment, with a few months still to go, how do you prepare the ladies' team for what is almost a quite unique situation, tournament style, in terms of the Ireland Games? Speaking to Blaine Slattery, the men's manager, a few months ago, there are, he says, challenges around particularly the schedule. It's quite an intense schedule. There'll have to be a lot of rotation, having to keep people fit. So what, if anything, can you do to get yourself ready for a different tournament style like that in Guernsey?
Well, to be fair, it's new to me as well. But the fact that we've got quality right the way through the squad, so the 18 women that I've chosen, we can rotate into different positions, rotate off the bench, and that quality, that intensity doesn't stop when we do that. So that's the whole point of being able to, and also being able to switch formations depending on how we're doing in the match. Because at the end of the day, you've got to win those matches. There's no second chances. So that's what we'll be working on.
Now, I know you put out a little bit of a statement when the team was announced, but for anyone who's missed it, I'm going to ask you again. What's the ambition in Guernsey? You know, is the Isle of Man women's team going for gold, pushing for gold?
Absolutely. No doubt. Straight. That's what we're going for. Not going there to make up the numbers. We're going to win.
Well, we wish you the very best of luck out there. And, of course, we'll be catching up with you in a few weeks' time as well with regards to our coverage here on Manx Radio of the Ireland Games, which is coming up in a few weeks' time. Tony, I'll just bring you in very quickly on this as well, just from, I suppose, a wider FA perspective here. And I think we've spoken about this a couple of times in the past, but the fact that we have... Wayne says he believes in the Isle of Man women's team going out to Guernsey. They could be strong. Blaine has the same faith in the men's squad as well. What do you think it speaks to the quality of Manx football that you've got two confident teams, two confident managers that could very well have a very successful time at this year's Ireland Games?
Looking at Wayne's one first, I think it's been superb. You know, the girls at the start a little bit slow to take up on the training. And I think Wayne just said, well, this isn't good enough, because when Wayne was appointed, we knew what he was going to be like. He wanted to train an awful lot, and that's what he's done. And you can tell now by the numbers, they're fantastic. You know, people are busy, but they're still there. They're making the time to get down there. And I've watched the sessions, and they've been really good. And there's a lot of talent in there, not only maturity of the women's players, but also the younger ones that have come in. So, you know, Wayne has got to juggle that round. And, you know, when you think one of the players he's taken only turned 16 about maybe 6 months ago, and he's taken her to Guernsey, which is fantastic. And, you know, it's gone off like a dream. And he's got 3 friendlies now before Guernsey, so 1 tomorrow, and then he's got 2 more coming up. So he couldn't ask for any more, because the women's season's nearly done. Yeah, we've got the cup final to go, and there's a couple of small league games to go. But it's important for him to have, I think, 11-a-side football, just to play them together. And when they played at Airbus, it was great to watch. And Wayne will do a great job, and the team that are there around him will really support the girls and get the best out of them. And he says he's going for gold. We want gold, but we don't get carried away. As long as the girls play to the best that they can, that's all we ask for.
And Wayne, just to very quickly bring you back in on this as well, when Tony mentions about some of the more, I suppose, youthful players in the squad, it's the same with the women's and men's side of things. There seems to be this philosophy, not just in football, but with a couple of the other sports for the Island Games, of trying to find that right blend of both experience and those who've maybe had success or pushing for success at this level, for those who've never been there before. I mean, how important is that you find that right balance in your side as well?
I think it's been a bit more difficult this time because there's not been a competitive tournament since 2019, so that's been 4 years away since then. And there's been a lot of talent turned 16 in those 4 years. So the squad I've chosen for the Island Games, 50% of it have never been to an Island Games before, which is probably quite unusual compared to previous Island Games. But the talent's there, and like Tony said, it doesn't matter what age you are. If you're good enough, you're going to go.
But there must be other island nations that may be in the same position to yourselves as well. The whole world's been through, say, the COVID pandemic over, around a 2-year period, and for some nations even longer as well. So that might just mix things up, not just maybe from the Isle of Man's perspective, but in terms of the opponents you might be coming up against. They may be finding themselves in the same position. Yes,
absolutely. As Tony said, I'm confident. We're going for gold, but we're not getting carried away. We'll take one match as it comes, and we'll take it from there.
Well, very best of luck to you and all the team out there. And like I say, we will be catching up with you again in a few weeks' time. But we're not going to let you go just yet because we have 2 cup draws to come here in Manx football. We do have, coming up in a few minutes' time, we'll have the semi-finals draw for the Kirby Estates Cowell Cup for the under-21 sides. But first, we will have the quarter-final draw for the Hospital Cup after another set of dramatic fixtures today. So, Tony, just very quickly, for those who don't know, could you explain who's in the hat and when these fixtures will be played once the draw's done?
Certainly will. The Hospital Cup quarter-finals they'll be played next Saturday, the 6th of May, and the games will kick off at 2:30. We've got 8 teams in the hat. We've got Rushen, Ramsey, Moran, St John's, St Mary's, Laxey, Ayr and Colby. So we've got 8 in the bag. Wayne's going to pull them out. Here we go.
Let's get this show on the road. First number out the hat.
Number 4.
Number 4 is Moran.
Number 7.
And they will play St John's.
Number 1.
Ayr United.
Number 2.
We'll play Colby.
Number 3.
Number 3 is a home tie for Laxey.
Number 8.
Number 8 is St Mary's.
Number 6.
Number 6 is Rushen.
And last, number 5.
And number 5 is Ramsey. So the quarter-final draw for the Hospital Cup to be played next Saturday is Moran will play St John's, Ayr against Colby, Laxey will play St Mary's, and Rushen at home against Ramsey.
Excellent. Well, let's just have a quick look through those drawn fixtures, shall we? So at Memorial Playing Fields, it'll be Moran versus St John's, 2 sides that have had up and down results in the league this season. They've had some real highs and some really frustrating lows at times. So who gets the upper hand here, do you think?
I just think I've got to go with St John's at the moment. I think they're in good form. They're scoring plenty of goals. The clean sheets seem to be sort of coming in for them. Another good one today. But Moran, they'll be disappointed not to have played today because it just keeps momentum going. And certainly David Brew's team there will be looking to see if they can beat St John's. But I just can't see it happening. I'd have to go for St John's to go through.
So then we'll have a look at one of the two Premier League versus Div 2 ties, and it's opposite corners of the Isle of Man here. So I suppose by the Manx perspective, this is a long old journey for Colby, who of course dramatically beating Castletown in the last few minutes today on penalties in their game this afternoon. They're going to travel all the way up to Andros playing fields to take on Ayr United.
Yeah, and what a great day that's going to be for Colby, because the club is buzzing. It's just great to see where they were sort of over the last couple of years, and now they've bounced back and got some good young players in there. And again today, I think Seb Spears got a goal. I don't know who got the other one, and they'll be delighted with that. But Ayr United's not going to be easy. And as we've seen today at Douglas High School, old boys score. They think, oh, we can do something here. And then suddenly they conceded 6, and Ayr United go through, and there's good players in there in that Ayr United team. And when you look at Cameron Tor, you look at young Jason's there, young fella. He's brilliant, and that's what you've got to do, is just let these young fellas come through. But you've also got players in there of Nick Hurt's standard this year. He's been absolutely brilliant, and I don't want to down Hurty, but I think he's like 47, 46, 47, and still playing really well. So I think Ayr United will come out winners in that one, but Colby will have one heck of a day and enjoy it right the way through at the end.
Well, then let's take a look at the other Premier League versus Div 2 clash, and this could be a really interesting one because Laxey, fresh from stunning Premier League champions Peel today with a 3-1 win in the first round today. They're going to be at home against the team that is on the brink of taking the Division 2 title, St Mary's. I mean, for St Mary's, this must be a great barometer, this game, for where they could be next season.
Well, it is, and that's what they want to do, but they'll know on Tuesday, because, or a good chance anyway, because if they get a point, or even if they win, that's them done and dusted. They win that league, but they're playing against Michael, who are second, and Michael are looking to win it as well, so they're looking to spoil that party, and we'll wait and see how that game goes. But great result today for Laxey against the Premiership champions Peel. And with Joe Walters back in there, you've also got Brodie Patience back fit again. And Sammy Gellan, who was brilliant midweek, scored 6 goals. Defensively, they look pretty strong. And to hold out the front line of Peels today shows you, what faith they've got. No Glenn Walker, he wasn't available, so whether he comes back in next week. But I've got to go for Laxey. I just think they'll have too much. But again, St Mary's, what a story this is, because last year, no teams. And here they are going to sort of possibly win Div 2 promotion, and they won the Combination 2 title as well. So another team that deserves a big pat on the back. Well done to them, but I think Laxey will take it.
Just very quickly, Tony, a message for you. Someone's just messaged in. Thanks very much. Ramsey unable to change venues, so the league match will be at Ballaclone on Tuesday, just for a bit of clarity there. We're going to come to Ramsey here on this last fixture in the Hospital Cup quarter-finals. It is South versus North, all Premier League clash. Russian United 4-0 winners today against Douglas Royal in the first round, up against a Ramsey side who beat Corinthians 3-2 today, and at one point were down to 9 men. So, Tony, with the attacking quality that Russian United have shown today against Ramsey, who really had to show some resilience today to hold on to that result, that could make for an interesting matchup, couldn't it? Well,
it could do, and when you look at Ramsey, they're a really good team, Rob, and the players that they've got there, they can score goals and they can defend as well. I watched them a couple of weeks ago when they played Douglas Royal and they beat them, and I just thought this is a side that's grown as well. When I looked at Darren Tarto, who played for Malou the season before, and he just had so much space in his difficult player to mark. And Jack Gilbert, another who's improved so much over the last year or 2 years. And just right the way through, I thought, Ramsey are a team you're going to have to look out for. And I feared for Corinthians today, but when I heard that they had a player sent off, I thought, this is a good chance here for Corinthians. But Ramsey hung in there. But Russian as well, they did all the damage in the first half. Douglas Royal were a lot better in the second period today. But, Russian, you got Mikey Williams back. Fura Davies didn't play today, but Dean Cairns played in goal. No Stevie Riding, so I'm pretty certain he'll come back into that team. And just all around, they worked hard. And I think Russian with the home tide, there'll be a great atmosphere down there because Ramsey have got a great following as well. So you're looking for a tip from me. I think the 4 semi-finalists will be St John's, Laxey and Russian.
Very well. Will we have another cup draw to come? 4 teams for this one because it is the draw for the semi-finals of the Kirby Estates Cowell Cup involving the island's under-21 side. So, Tony, could you just let us know who is in this draw?
Yeah, it's the Kirby Estates Cowell Cup, so it's basically under-21. Some great games on Thursday, a couple of ecky times, and, it really was a battle. These semi-finals are to be played this Thursday, the 4th of May. In the hat is Russian, Union Mills, Peel and Onken. Wayne's got the bag. There's 4 in there.
Wayne, if you'll do the honours for us.
First one out, number 3.
And number 3 is Russian.
Followed by number 4.
Number 4 is Union Mills. In the other semi-final.
Number 1.
Number 1 is Onken.
And number 2.
And they will play Peel. So the 2 semi-final draws is Russian at home against Union Mills, and Onken, I say at home, but it won't be at home. We'll find out where they're going to play that one. Will play against Peel. What Onken have been doing is switching the game to the opponents, so we'll have to sort that one out. But there's your 2 semi-finals for the Kirby Estates Cowell Cup.
And in terms of those 2 semi-finals, anything in particular that stands out about these 2 ties? Any particular favourites at this point, in your opinion?
It's hard to say because Russian only played, I think it was their first game midweek, but did well. Union Mills were the same because they got a bye. Onken have always been the fancied team, I think, when you look at over the last 2 or 3 years, how strong their under-18s have been. And Peel have got some cracking players. I think Peel, to me, slight favourites when I looked at the team sheet. They look good, so that'll be a great game against Onken. And Russian against Union Mills, it's 2 sides who hopefully those young players that are starting to come through will sort of play for their senior sides in the years to come and make them stronger.
So we'll just run through both of those cup draws again if you missed them in the last couple of minutes. We'll start with the Hospital Cup quarter-finals. Ties to be played on the 6th of May. The quarter-finals are as follows. Marown versus St John's United. Ayr United versus Colby. Laxey versus St Mary's. And Russian United versus Ramsey. And in the draw for the semi-finals of the Kirby Estates Cowell Cup, both ties to be played this coming Thursday, the 4th of May. It is Russian United versus Union Mills and Onken versus Peel. Well, Tony, Wayne, thank you very much for your time. And Wayne, of course, will be catching up with you soon. And Tony, likewise, thank you very much indeed.
Manx Radio Sport.
Well, turning away from football now, we'll be coming up to the hockey fixtures in just a few minutes' time, but we're hopefully going to take a look in the next couple of minutes at the netball series that has been taking place on the Isle of Man this weekend. A 3-day series which started last night, and with a busy set of fixtures today, which saw the Manx Rams ladies senior squad in action, and also there were fixtures down for the Isle of Man under-21s and Isle of Man under-17s against the Northern Ireland under-17 development team, but it looks like those games may not quite be taking place. We're looking to hopefully catch up with the Manx Rams ladies captain in the next few minutes, Ashley Hall. While we're waiting for that, we will turn our attention to the man who's been sat there very patiently, and he's been spending a lot of time today down at the National Sports Centre for the Hockey Cup Finals Day. Ben Cunningham, very good afternoon.
Good afternoon. It's nice to be indoors.
That Manx Radio jacket's proven its worth, I think, hasn't it, today?
It's work today, definitely.
So yes, taking a look at the games today, a great atmosphere by the looks of it. Before we get into any specific results, it looked like a great following for all 4 finals that took place today at the NSC.
The atmosphere down the NSC today was electric. If I had to pick the best game, had to be the Ladies' Cup. The atmosphere down there was brilliant, and basically from one end of the pitch to the other, it was just a line, a row of people watching, and that's what we wanted down there today.
We saw the pictures coming through, and the ones that you were taking. That's a fantastic following for a hockey final, isn't it?
Oh yeah, and you could tell, the clubs have rallied together and gone, look, we've got a team in the final here. We're all going to go down and support, and it was clear to see, Castletown today were down there in force supporting their teams, and then last night Harlequins were down in force for their finals. So it's great to see all the clubs supporting the higher teams, all their lower teams. It's great to see.
Okay, let's take a look at the finals in more detail then. There were 4 finals taking place. So the Ladies' Bowl Final, Ladies' Cup Final, Men's Cup Final and Men's Bowl Final taking place. We'll start from the top, and kicking things off this morning at 11:05 was the Ladies' Bowl Final. Ramsey B taking on the Ladies' Division 2 champions Castletown C. And Castletown, well, it's a league and cup double for them, and what a way to end the season for them. Castletown C winning the Ladies' Bowl Final by 4-1 against Ramsey B.
Yeah, it was a really close first half. Half time, 1-1, so it was all to play for in the second half. Ramsey took the lead thanks to Rosie Parton, which made it 1-0 to Ramsey. Then 14 minutes in, Kayla Harrison got Castletown's equaliser, and then it was a stalemate right through till half time. Second half, Castletown came out straight from the start, and 2 minutes in, they made it 2-1 thanks to Erin DeBach's goal. 10 minutes in, then it was 3-1 to Castletown. Brescia Collister adding to the goals that Castletown had got, and then on 25 minutes, Kira Cooper added the 4th, which secured the win for Castletown and the double.
And then we moved on to the Ladies' Cup Final, 12:35. The Women's Premier League champions, Castletown A, coming up against the side that have been so dominant in the Women's Premier League over the last few years. The team that they took the title off this season, Vikings Ladies A. And Ben, you touted this as arguably a game of the day, at least on paper, and it certainly did not disappoint. Castletown Ladies A, a league and cup double for them, also beating Vikings A in a really entertaining contest by 4-3.
What a game. I mean, you can probably hear I nearly lost my voice doing this game. What a game it was. It was absolutely the most entertaining game of the whole day and pretty much the whole weekend. I mean, Harlequins last night, their games was brilliant, but today, this one was the best out of the lot of today. Castletown took the lead 15 minutes in, thanks to Hannah Lees. And then just literally on the stroke of half-time, Vikings put the ball in the back of the net by Danny Coombs. And then the umpires stopped time, came in and had a discussion and ruled it out for not going 5 before it went into the shooting area. So then it went into half-time, 1-0 to Castletown. Straight from the off, Vikings then came out 30 seconds on the clock, and they scored straight from the off, thanks to Kim Carney, and that made it 1-1. And then next minute, 8 minutes in, Sarah Farragher got Castletown second to make it 2-1, and you thought, right, Castletown, they've got things back on track now. Then Sarah Blackman for Vikings made it 2-2. And it was like, right, we've got a game on here. This is going to go either way. 21 minutes in, then Evie Watterson. What a goal it was to make it 3-2. I mean, Paul was live when it happened, and I think I nearly broke the mic when she scored, because it was all you heard was Castletown fans screaming, and then me trying to shout Evie's name down the mic, which made it 3-2. And then 30 minutes on the clock, Dulcie Tier then made it 4-2 to Castletown, and you thought that was it then, game over. But then 2 minutes later, Sarah Blackman made it 4-3, and everyone was stood there on the sideline going, I don't think this is over yet. And Vikings did have one last chance, but it just went wide, and the full-time whistle went, and it was 4-3 to Castletown. But what a game. And then, I mean, they've got their club awards tonight, and there's definitely going to be a lot of celebrating there tonight.
Before we move on to the men's finals, overall, I guess, over the Ladies' Bowl Final and the Ladies' Cup Final today, so that's double success for Castletown C in the Bowl Final, and Castletown A, as we've just discussed, in the Ladies' Cup Final. Particularly with Castletown A, and I think we spoke about this a couple of weeks ago when the league fixtures concluded. Vikings, they've had such dominance and such quality over the last few years in this division. They've been the team to beat, everyone wants to catch. Are we starting to see maybe a little bit of a shift in the dynamic in the Women's Premier League? Castletown A winning the league, going on to win the cup today in a thrilling contest. Are we seeing a bit of a change in the times, or have Vikings still got the quality, but it's just not quite clicked this season?
I think yes. I think this is a sign of what's to come, definitely. I mean, speaking to the Castletown captain after we spoke to her live on Paul's show, I said, so are you actually going to be losing anyone this season? And her words were no.
So they may have those players still around, as there's continuity in there.
Yeah, so that's really a bonus for them. They really want to keep that team because today they played as a team, they worked as a team, and they supported each other as a team. And that's what's got them this win today and the double.
Could bode well for Castletown next season, but we'll just have to wait and see once the next campaign rolls around. Well,
Indeed.
That wasn't the end of the Cup finals, of course. There were two more today, and then at 2:05 was the Men's Cup final. And the Men's Premier League champions, Backers A, they've virtually not put a foot wrong all season, came up against their old rivals, Vikings Men's A. In what was quite a close game to start with, Backers A then just started to show a bit more quality, took it up a few gears, and ultimately went on to claim what is a League and Cup double for them. Backers Men's A winning the Men's Cup final against Vikings Men's A by 7-2.
Yeah, 3-2 at half time. 15. It took 15 minutes for the first goal, and it was Vikings who took the lead thanks to Dom Hubble. And then 2 minutes later, Johnny Callow made it 1-1. From there on, Carl Moore went on to get his first and second goal to make it 3-1. And then just on the stroke of half time, Daryl Jago scored to make it 3-2, which then put a lot of people thinking, right, is this going to be really close second half? But second half, Backers come out another level and went on and absolutely proved why they're league champions and they're now the Men's Cup champions, and how they've only conceded so many little goals this season. Johnny Callow then got his second. Andy Whiting then scored. Then it was Chris Whiting, and then Elliot Reid, and then Johnny Callow got another goal, and that was game, set and match for Backers.
You touched on one thing there about the defensive side of things as well. I mean, we've seen the amount of goals that Backers can score. They're relentless in front of goal. I've seen it firsthand. But the defensive side of things this season as well, for the league at least, I believe they only conceded single figures in terms of goals, which
8
is
goals.
It's a phenomenal thing to think when you think of some of the quality that the other teams, the likes of your Vikings, your Valkyries and your Castletowns, have got in there, that they're still able to hold things at the back whilst they're causing so many problems for teams going forward.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I mean, when we spoke to Elliot Reid, who's the Backers captain, at the end of the game, his words were, I said it to him, what's the secret? How have you managed to concede such little goals this season? And his words are basically, if one person isn't available, there's another person available to slot into that slot. And that's what's made that team such a strong team. It's not a case of they've had to go, right, we know you play up front, but can you play in defence this week? They've got people in their reserves or in their back pocket, which they can go, right, such and such isn't available this weekend. Can you come up and play in that position? And it just melts and works together. It's brilliant. And like we say, 8 goals conceded in the league, and then 2 today. So 10 goals they've conceded all season.
What's it going to take to catch them next season when they're in such an imperious run of form? In terms of the league, they've dominated the Men's Premier League for a fair few years now, but to do it in this way in particular, so solid defensively while scoring plenty of goals going forward, what's it going to take for anyone else to get that challenge in next season?
A lot. That's the best way of putting it.
That sums it up quite nicely, I think. That sums it up quite nicely. Well, there was one more final taking place today. Quite a later finish. It was the Men's Bowl final taking place between Ramsey Men's B and Castletown Men's B. And some silverware for the northern side at the end of today. Ramsey B beating Castletown B by 4-2.
Yeah, so Castletown B haven't managed to do the double because Castletown B were the league champions. And they beat Ramsey both times in the league. And then today, Ramsey have got it back on them. Ramsey went 1 up 25 minutes in, took for the first goal to happen, and it was Dan Stevenson for Ramsey. Few minutes just on the stroke of half time, then Paul Kelly scored for Castletown B, 1-1 at half time. Second half got going again, and Ramsey went 2-1 up thanks to Harry Woods. Then Chris Wells made it 3-1 to Ramsey. And then a few moments later, Ned McGregor made it 3-2, so it was game on. And then Ramsey got a penalty flick, which was saved by the Castletown keeper, which kept it at 3-2. But then moments after that, Ramsey got another penalty flick, and this time Nat Smith put it away to make it 4-2. And that was a game, set, and match there, and Ramsey take the silverware.
Well, congratulations to Ramsey in that game as well. So that is the finale to the 2023 Manx hockey season. Ben Cunningham, it's been... he's shown me a piece of paper. You can't see this, but he wants to get a word in about the other two finals that took place yesterday. I know he does. I can see him grinning across the screens from me here. So if you missed it, there were two other finals which took place on Friday night as well. We had the ladies' plate final and the men's plate final. And in the women's plate final, it was Valkyries Ladies B versus Harlequins Ladies A. And then in the men's plate final, it was Valkyries Men's B versus Harlequins Men's A. And a double for Harlequins. And it was Harlequins Ladies A 4-0 victory over Valkyries Ladies B in the ladies' plate final. And then the men's team winning the men's plate final by 7-2, Ben.
Yep, so it was Ella Blakemore with 2 goals, Amelia Lee with a goal, and Rachel Middleton for Harlequins, which secured a 4-0 win for Harlequins. And then in the men's plate, it was Ali Fippiano with both goals for Valkyries B. And then for Harlequins, it was Tom Hurd, Ronan Santanatolia with 3, Oren Blakemore with 1, George Ratcliffe with 1, and Alfie Swales with 1.
And the two Harlequins teams, the men's and ladies A teams, both with aspirations, of course, of going into the top flight, whether it's next season or beyond that. So if they're managing to pick up results like that in the big game occasions in the Cups, does that bode well for both sides?
Definitely. I mean, last season Harlequins made it to the plate final and lost out to Castletown B 2-1 on flicks. So for them to get the plate this year and the league to go up to the Premier League is a massive achievement for Harlequins Ladies A. And then for Harlequins Men's A, they got to the semi-finals last year and lost out to Castletown B, who got promoted, who got the promotion, and then to come out 7-2 winners in that game, 4-1 at half time. So it wasn't all plain sailing for them, but a great achievement by both Harlequins teams, and both Harlequins A men and ladies are moving on up to the Premier League next season, which let's just say it's going to be a big test for them, but one I reckon that they can definitely both be capable of.
We'll have to see. Well, that does conclude the 2023 Manx hockey season for the men's and ladies teams, returning next season. And Ben Cunningham, of course, your first time as our Manx Radio hockey correspondent this season. A superb job, if I may say so myself. So how much have you enjoyed this season?
I've really enjoyed it. It's been a great experience, but one that I've really loved and treasured, and I just want to thank everyone for their support and that, because it was one of those, it was a debate, it was me debating about it at the start of the season. I thought, go on, why not? And it's been a move that I've definitely thought, right, I made the right choice here. But yeah, there's loads of people I want to thank from the MHA who've supported me, who've inundated me with messages and that. But yeah, most of all, just thanks all the clubs for their support and for all their feedback and helping me get to know some players so then I can get names right on the radio.
Well, Ben, it's been an absolute pleasure, and I'm sure I'll be catching up with you next season. Hopefully next season. Thank you very much indeed. Well, to almost round things off this evening, we're going to turn to netball, and it's been a busy couple of days over the National Sports Centre. The Isle of Man, 4 of the Isle of Man's teams due to be in action this weekend, welcoming teams from the UK Armed Forces and also from a Northern Ireland development squad. There were 2 games due to take place this evening with the Northern Ireland under-17 development team for the Isle of Man under-21s and under-17s. They've been postponed at the very least because Northern Ireland have been unable to travel. But the Manx Rams ladies squad were in action today against a UK Armed Forces squad. I'm delighted now to be joined by the Manx Rams captain, Ashley Hall. Ashley, very good evening to you.
Hello.
Great to have you on board this evening. Now, a busy weekend, of course, in terms of netball as well. Not just for the Manx Rams ladies, but the Isle of Man men's squad were in action last night. We'll come to that in a little bit. But starting with the Manx Rams, coming up against the UK Armed Forces, a preparation game ahead of the 2023 Europe Netball Open Challenge taking place in Cardiff next month. Manx Rams, 57, UK Armed Forces, 37. That seems like a pretty good result, doesn't it?
Yeah, we're really pleased with that scoreline. We had 6-10 minutes, and we managed to get a lot of combinations on and work together with a new squad. And so we're really, really pleased with that score.
I know your head of performance, Claire, who'd spoken with us in the lead up to this week and had talked about combinations and being able to move things around, sort of chop and change things going into a big tournament. But the fact that, like you say, the combinations have come together, you've got a result, does that mean you feel like as a team you've got more options going to Cardiff next month?
Yeah, there are more options. There's healthy competition amongst the girls, but we're still a unit, and we realise there's a job to be done together. But yeah, it's coming together really nice. We were on the bench today commenting how we feel strong and we feel fast, so it's all good.
And in terms of looking ahead then to Cardiff, so with the team that you've had there today, there's a couple of younger faces in there that are joining up with the Manx Rams for the first time, or it may only be their second or third time. So to bring them into the system, into the senior game, as it were, to come up against senior opposition like that must be good experience for those younger players who have aspirations of being in the Manx Rams on a more full-time basis in the future.
Absolutely, and they're not far off. They'll be coming taking my position soon, sure. Yeah.
We'll have to wait and see on that one. I think you're still the captain, I do believe. So let's take a look then at the Isle of Man men's squad. Now, obviously, relatively recently formed as a side, but they've been getting their experience both on and off island. They came up against the same UK Armed Forces side on Friday evening, and the men's squad doing well here, 54 points to 35. The men's squad winning. Another good deal of progress for the men's squad then this weekend.
Yeah, they're really coming on. They're playing controlled. They're playing clever netball. They look like a proper team now. They're really good.
And in terms of them going forward, with the interactions that maybe you've had with them, I suppose where next maybe does the men's squad go, looking to keep up this, I suppose, upward curve of progression? Is it just about getting court time, or there may be other things that will be added with that over the months? What do you think?
Yeah, they're looking to go to nationals in the UK and see how they do there. They went last year, so it'd be good to compare how they compete compared to that. Yeah, they're a really exciting team. They're coming together really well.
Well, Ashley, thanks so much for your time. We'll let you go and enjoy the rest of your Saturday and your bank holiday. Thank you very much for joining us. Well, rounding things off tonight, we're going to take a look at something motorsport related. With TT 2023 now only a few weeks away, bike enthusiasts and indeed anyone will be able to get their motorcycling fix in the north of the island this bank holiday Monday. The 2023 Ramsey Motorcycle Show is taking place up at the Mountain View Innovation Centre between 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. on Monday the 1st of May. And to find out a little more about what's in store, Manx Radio's Chris Kinley spoke to the two men behind organising the event.
Ramsey Motorcycle Show is back for 2023. Luke McKinley and Steve Parker. Hi, guys.
Hello there. How's it going?
I bet you're looking forward to this, aren't you?
We are, yeah. Yes.
Months and months and months and months, I suppose, of planning goes into this, and not just. Do you know what? In 3 weeks, let's run an event. This has been going on since last year, since you finished, hasn't it, guys?
Yeah, since the last show finished last year, I had to get together and start thinking about next year.
What's the craziest idea you've ever come up with? Everyone's gone at one of your meetings. Nah, we're not going to do that.
We decided to run a festival one year, didn't we?
We did, yes.
Which took a lot of time, probably a lot more than this show. So we've gone back to the one event format, which is on the early May bank holiday.
Yeah.
Which is obviously the 1st of May, and it's indoors.
Yeah, that's the main thing. A few years ago, we used to run it outside, but then you can never predict the weather. So we've decided to go with the indoor venue, and it's a fantastic location at the Mountain View Innovation Centre on the Derby Road there, just outside of Ramsey. And whatever the weather, you can guarantee it's going to be a great event.
And for those who don't know, that's where the recent TT launch is on as well, has been for the past couple of years. So you've got some of these stalls going on. Steve, just run through some of the stalls you got. How many have you got? You must have a good scutch, as we say in the Isle of Man, of exhibitors.
Yeah, well, we've got Paul Dedman, who's one of our sponsors, to doing the prizes.
Good racer himself.
Oh,
really
yes,
good racer,
doing really well.
In fact, the current champion for the twins up at Derby, actually, to be fair. So, yeah, fair play to him last year on that Aprilia. Anyway, sorry, Paul, bit of self-publicity for him there.
And we have another company called Open Face, who's very loyal to us. They come along every year and help us with prizes. But the main thing is the charity side to our stores. Our main one is the Joe Dunlop Foundation. They've been with us for years now. And when you bring a bike in to display, you pay £5, which goes directly to them. We don't handle the money, you pay them directly. This year we've got the Billy Redmayne charity, well-known charity. They're coming, and the Lifeboat Association, a good cause.
And anybody will probably say, well, hang on, it's motorbike things. What about lifeboats? You can probably name someone off the top of your head on the Isle of Man who has needed a lifeboat at some point.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can you?
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't, but
Well, we can, but there you
Nearly
go.
myself, but there we go, that's another story.
So the Mountain View Innovation Centre as well, you mentioned about being able to bring your bike in if you want to show it off, because I know a lot of guys will be polishing them up ready and that. And you've got Sir John Lorimer coming again. He is such a nice chap, isn't he?
And he's coming on his motorbike.
Yeah.
I think he actually said at last year's show that if his wife allowed, he was going to he was going to have himself a motorbike. So it'd be great to invite him along again to open the show.
So he arrives at 10 o'clock on his motorbike. He's coming straight into the show field, and then at 10 o'clock he'll be doing a 5-minute announcement, then opening the show for us.
Okay, he is going to open the show, but if you want a bike if you've got a bike and you want to show it there, you have to be there at 9 o'clock, ready for setup.
9:30 at the very latest, but 9 o'clock would be nice so we can get you in and lined up.
Okay, and also free to spectate and free and to attend and free parking.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ample parking.
Wow.
Yeah.
So Steve and I don't, take anything from the show. It's just purely for the biker community and non-bikers as well.
Yeah.
Just put it on, and it's the run up to TT. Everyone's getting a bit excited. The bikes are starting to come out of the garage, and it's just an opportunity for everyone to have a good chin wag and eat some food and have a coffee and talk about bikes and look at hopefully a lot of bikes.
Classics, vintage, cafe racer, modified custom, race bikes and much more. Luke, is your own personal race bike going to be there?
Yeah, my own personal race bike.
Moto 3 now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit of a custom.
It
started life out as a Moto 3, but I've put a different engine in from a KTM Enduro bike. Something a bit special. Was up there racing up at Andrews, a couple of weeks ago, and for its first time out, and it was great. So that'll be there, and I'm happy to talk to anyone who wants to have a look at that. And I've got an old Honda 404 which I restored as well, which will be at the show.
Is that an old Super Dream 404?
Yeah, a little Super Dream.
Wow.
Yeah, F1 Super Dream. So
goodness me, all these kids with the bikes these days.
Right.
And what are you bringing up there, Steve? You going to demonstrate anything?
I'm a Suzuki person.
Okay.
I'm bringing an 82 1100 Katana, a 92 GSX 1100R, and a GT 250.
Oh wow, good stuff. Yeah,
two-stroke.
Definitely stuff. All right, guys, listen. So again, give us a big breakdown of where it is, where it's happening once more.
Yeah, so Ramsey Motorcycle Show at the Mountain View Innovation Centre, 1st of May, which is bank holiday, and it's on from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. and we're looking forward to seeing as many there.
Chris Kinley chatting with the organisers of the 2023 Ramsey Motorcycle Show, taking place from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. this bank holiday Monday. That's all we have time for here on Saturday Sport Classified this week on Manx Radio AM 1368 and digital. Thank you very much for joining us. So 8 remain in the Hospital Cup, 4 remain in the Kirby Estates Cowell Cup. The Manx hockey season for 2023 has concluded with a bang. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll be back next Saturday. But in the meantime, we'll now be handing back over to Christy DeHaven over on the FM frequency. So from us here, have yourself a very good evening. Bye for now.
Manx Radio Sport.